crochet tutorial. So today I'm going to show you how I crocheted these pants. I made two versions of them. The tutorial will be on these ones. So I made this first. I checked like the pattern and how to make them, and then I decided to make exactly the same ones one more time. The only difference is that I added a rope here to tie them, to make them a little bit tighter, because I wore them, actually I added this part here yesterday after 2 weeks because it's stretchy and it doesn't go back again. So that's why yesterday they started to fall off after wearing the whole day. That's why I decided to add this part here, but actually it is very simple. It's just one row of, like a long row of chains, and then I just added them here with a needle. I'm showing you this, guys, because it's not part of the tutorial that I already filmed, so this is an additional part. And if you don't want to make it visible, you can actually also tie it on the inside, so it should not be visible at all. And yeah, I really like them. They're super comfortable. I like to wear them outside. You can style them very, like in a very classic look or in a sporty look. I also share some type of stylings, how I like to style these two pair of shorts, and they're also comfortable to just wear at home. And they're very easy to make, so you just need to follow the tutorial for additional measurements and additional pictures. Always have the written pattern linked down below, so if you want to support my channel, you can, or just support my work, you can also purchase the PDF file. And one other thing that I realized later while rechecking the amount of stitches that I made. So there's like one small edit that I would like to tell you right away, and just keep in mind during the tutorial, but it should not change anything, or it doesn't really change anything on what you are going to make. So basically, after making this part, the ribbing part, I mentioned to make a row of single crochet, which is this one here, and then a row of double crochet, and so on. And I mentioned that the amount of single crochets here is 164, while it is actually 154. So just keep that in mind. So I made 10 stitches less than I mentioned in the tutorial. So yeah, just keep that in mind. And other than that, it's very straightforward, it's easy to make, it's also very quick to make. It took a little bit longer to make this one because I had to open it up and for the sizing, but once the sizing is clear, for example for the second one, it was very quick to make. And yeah, without further ado, I wish you a lot of fun crocheting with me. So in order to make these shorts, we're going to start off with this part here. We're crocheting this way, and then once we reach our desired length or width of our waist, then we're going to close this part here and then crochet downwards here in rows, and then here make the pants, and then crochet this side and then this side as well. So this is like the fast explanation, and let's start with this part here. We're going to start off by making a foundation chain of 10 chains. So we're gonna chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is the width of this part here. So this part here is 10 chains. If you want to make it bigger or smaller, then you're gonna add or make less chains. So once we did 10 chains, we're going to chain 1 and then make a single crochet here into the next chain. So we're gonna skip that 1 chain that we just did and make a single crochet in the next one, and we're gonna continue making single crochets into each chain so that we have exactly 10 single crochets at the end of the row. So I did 3 now, 3, 4, and so on until you have 10. So I now have 10 single crochet. I reached the end of the row. Now I'm going to chain 1, turn my work, and I'm going to make a single crochet, but only into the back side of the loop. So every stitch contains of 2 loops, as you can see here. These are 2 loops. Usually we just make a regular single crochet into both loops, so it's gonna be here, but we're not gonna insert into both, but into the back loop only. This is the back loop, so you're gonna insert your hook here and make a single crochet, and you're gonna continue making this until you reach the end of the row. You can count each one, it should always be exactly 10. So now it's gonna be 10 single crochets into the back loop only, like this. I did 9 single crochets into the back loop only. The last one is always a little bit tricky, that's why I would always suggest, if you're a beginner, to count each single crochet that you're making, because this, the 10th one, you almost don't see, but you should do it because otherwise you will not have like a straight line. So this is the 10th. So I have 10 single crochets into the back loop only. Now I'm going to chain 1, turn my work, and then continue exactly the same thing. Single crochet into the back loop only. This is the first, and continue until you reach the end of the row, which will be exactly 10 again. So I now already made 10 rows in total. I just want to show you how you can count them. So this is the first row, which is the row of single crochet into the foundation chain. Then the next one is here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So these are 10 rows. I usually keep track of them by counting them, like writing them down. Like this is the foundation chain. The first is single crochet into the foundation chain, and the second is where I start to make single crochet into the back loop only. And for my size, I'm wearing the pants under my belly button. So this is the size, and I made a total of 108 rows. I would suggest to keep trying it on and to keep measuring, and also it depends on if you want to have it a little bit more high waist, then you need to make less. But I decided for this one to be a little bit like not low waist but in between. You're gonna continue making until you reach your desired length. On my written pattern I have all the measurements as well of these shorts here, so you can also have a look in case you're gonna use another yarn. And yeah, I'm gonna see you once you finished making all the rows that you need for your size. So I'm now done with my border, and you can see here I put the stitch marker when I reached the 100 rows, and then I added 8 more, so it's for me a total of 108. And I'm going to just show you, because you need to stretch it a little bit, so I would suggest to always try it on whenever you think you reach like this type of length, like your size. And here let me show you, because when I'm not stretching it, and I already stretched it once while trying on, so it's already a little bit stretched compared to how it is right when you are crocheting it. It also depends on how strong you crochet. So you can see when I fold it, it's like this here, but when I try it on and I'm not stretching it, it's like this, but when it's stretched, it's like this. So, and the more you will stretch it, you need to also take into account I'm wearing like shorts because of the video, but without shorts, it's like perfect size, like right under my belly button, like this here. So if you want it to be a little bit less stretched, but with the time it will stretch anyway, like you can see here, it's already stretched now, but it still doesn't fall down. So I'm gonna put on these shorts so you can see. So you can see here, I did the exact same amount of single crochets, and it's already stretched because it doesn't go back again. So it doesn't make sense to make more rows if it's your size. Here, it doesn't fall off, and it's also not too tight, and it's easy to put on. And so I could even wear it like high waist like this, because it's still a little bit stretchy. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to continue. So we are not going to change our color yet, so this is still going to be one row of the white color. So first, let's close it. So you're gonna make sure that it's not twisted. I finished here. I made a single crochet into the back loop only at the last stitch. Now I'm going to chain one and then connect and make a single crochet into both loops. So you're going to insert into the first, and then you're gonna check here 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. The 10th is here like this, and then you're gonna make a single crochet, and you're gonna do that into every stitch, a total of 10 times, always into the first, like into the last and into the very first end of this border. So make sure to not skip one stitch, and then when you finished combining, I'm gonna show you how to continue. So now that you did a total of 10 single crochets, you can try it on one more time, just in case. So now we are going to chain one. Make sure to take the leftover yarn with you so you don't need to weave it in later. And now we're going to make a single crochet into each. I'm going to put the stitch marker into the first single crochet so I know where I started, even though it's pretty visible because of the border here. So now I'm going to make a single crochet into each space that I see, and the thing is that you can see here, this is one row, this is the second, this is the third, and we're not going to make one single crochet into each row, but if we have two rows here, this is one and this is two, we're going to make 3 single crochet into every second row, so into every 2 rows. So every set of 2 rows, 3 single crochet. like this. And if you continue doing this until you reach the end of the row, you will end up not having exactly the same amount of stitches as you have rows. Like I have 108 rows, so it's not gonna be 108 stitches, but in case you wanna just check how many you did, I did 108 rows plus the half of it, so around 162. At this one here, I realized I didn't make exactly into every. I think I skipped one or two where I did only 2 for each 2 rows, but almost always it's 3, like this. And this is going to be the amount of stitches that you will have into the 1, 2, 3 first rows of the shorts. So you're gonna continue until you reach the end of the row. So let me show you one more time. Just simple single crochet, and once you reach the end of the row, I'm going to show you how to continue. So I now reached the end of the row. I'm gonna remove the stitch marker and make a slip stitch. For now, like this, because I'm gonna try it on now. I did make like exactly the right amount, so I made, these are 2 rows, so I did always 3 single crochet into every 2 rows. So now it's time to change the yarn, so that's why I'm gonna remove the last slip stitch that I made. I just made it to close it in order to try it on, but you're going to always change the yarn by inserting the hook into the first stitch of the row. Then you're gonna hold your yarn with your ring finger here, like this, so that it stays in place. And then you're gonna take the other yarn and then yarn over and pull through both loops like this. And then you're going to, in this case, we're going to make a row of double crochet, so chain 3. And here at the very first time, we are going to make a knot at the back side. So now we have here, this will be the back side, so the inner part, the inner part of the pants. So also this seam here, it's gonna be inside, so it doesn't look bad. So now that I made the 3 chains, I'm gonna turn my work, and this counts as our first double crochet. It's right above the first chain of the previous row, like the first single crochet of the previous row. And now I'm going to make a double crochet into each row. You can take the blue yarn with you, or whatever color you're using, but don't take this one with you because I'm not cutting off the yarns now. So take this one with you so you don't need to weave it in later. And you're going to continue with 1 double crochet into each stitch, like every single crochet that you made. And so at the end of the row, you're going to have the exact same amount of double crochet as you had single crochet in the previous row. In my case, it's 146. No, 164. So you're going to continue doing this until you reach the end of the row, and then I'm going to show you how to continue. I reached now the end of the row. In order to check if you really are doing the exact same amount of stitches, is you need to check if you have exactly the same amount as you have like double crochet as you have stitches here. So we have one here, this is over this one, and this is here, so it's perfect. We have the same amount, or you're just gonna count after every single row, and then you're going to make a slip stitch. Here we're going to change our yarn again. So in order to keep the whole yarns that we're going to change at the inside, we're going to put the yarn at the front and then insert here. We're gonna hold it here with the thumb, take the other yarn, which we didn't cut off, like this, here, and then like this. You can see here, and then pull it through like a slip stitch. We're not gonna cut off the yarn from the previous row. And now, since the next row that we're going to do is again a row of double crochet, we're going to chain 3, turn our work, and then this is our first double crochet. So this is the second one, so make the stitch into the double crochet into the next stitch. So, and now this is also going to be a row of just double crochet. There's no increases, so just continue making double crochets into each stitch until you reach the end of the row, and then I'm going to show you how to continue. So I reached almost the end of the row. I'm going to show you how to close the row here. So I'm checking again if I'm making exactly the same amount of double crochets as in the previous row. So here I have this one here. These are the 3 chains, and so this one, the last one I made here, so here's one more free. So I still need to make one more double crochet. And then, since we're not going to change the color yet, we are going to just insert the hook into the first double crochet of the row and make a slip stitch. Now, since we're going to change the type of stitches that we're going to make, so we're going to chain 2 now. We're gonna make a half double crochet right into the next one here, like this, and then you're going to change 1, skip 1 stitch, and make a half double crochet into the next one. So you're going to repeat that, chain 1, skip 1 stitch, and make a half double crochet. So half double crochet, you're gonna yarn over, insert the hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull through, then you have 3 loops on the hook, the same thing that you do when you do a double crochet, but you're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops in one time. So you're gonna continue this. Also, no increases here. It's the last row without increases. You're gonna do this, alternating half double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, half double crochet until the end of the row, and then I'm going to show you how to continue. So I now reached the end of the row. In my case here, it depends on how many stitches you made, like on the size that you made, it depends how many stitches you will have at the end. I have 4 half double crochets in one row, but since it's the back side, it's gonna be okay. You can also choose to just close it like this, like chain 1 and close. Then you will have like 2, but I feel like it looks better when it's just like more symmetric. You're not going to close yet because we're going to change the color, but I'm going to try it on now. It still fits very good, and now since there's gonna be an increase here at the back side, we're going to make 2 increases at the sides. So there's gonna be always 2 increases on each row until you reach the crotch area. So depending on how big you're gonna measure here your hips and your seat area, and depending on how big the difference is, you need to make more or less increases. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check my measurement, and then I'm going to share in the written pattern my measurements and the difference, and then you can see if you have a bigger difference or a smaller difference, and then you will choose if you're gonna make more increases on each row. So instead of 2, 4 increases, or if it's less, then you can do 2 increases every second row. So let me show you now. So here I'm gonna remove this slip stitch that I made, and I'm going to change the color first. So we need to check, this is the back side. So put the yarn in front, take the other yarn, insert your hook into the first stitch of the row and pull through the yarn like this. So it's not visible at the outer side, but at the inside you can see, and you don't need to actually cut off the yarn every time. So it's a little bit uncomfortable to have always 2 yarns, but in the end it's so much more comfortable not to have to weave in that many leftover yarns. So here we did the 3 chains for the double crochet row, and now you're gonna make a double crochet right into the next stitch. So here, let me quickly explain you what's going on. We have the same pattern that's gonna be repeated over and over again. So 1 row of double crochet in the color, then 1 row of double crochet in the white color, so the primary color, let's say this is the secondary color, then 1 row of half double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, half double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, and then we're gonna come back to make the row of double crochet in the secondary color. And here, so you saw I made 1, this one, like these 3 chains are right over the 2 chains that we did in the previous row. Then I have 1 double crochet right over the half double crochet we did in the previous row, and here we're going to make the double crochet into the chain space, and then the next double crochet is gonna be into the stitch, so right over the half double crochet of the previous row, like this. So you're gonna make the double crochets always like this when you're using the secondary color, because it's gonna be from now on always right after the half double crochet chain 1 pattern. And now I'm going to show you how to do the increase. So in order to do the increase, you're going to check the size of, like, the amount of stitches that you have. So I have 162 stitches, so I'm gonna divide it by 4. It's 40. It doesn't really matter if it's 41 or 45, and then make times 2, or like first time divide by 2, so 81. So if you time this by 2 again, you're gonna have your original stitches. Sorry, I kept saying this is the back side, but this is not the back side, this is the side. Okay, so this is the side, and we're going to make the increases on the back and then the front, as you can see here. So we need to make 1 increase here and the other one right behind. Take 2 stitch markers. Since we're starting here from the side, we need to make the first decrease here at the front, increase at the front. You're gonna count 41 or 40 stitches, or like you're gonna divide by 4 the whole amount of stitches that you have, and then put the stitch marker right there after the amount of stitches that you have. So for me it's 40. So I'm gonna count here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and so on. So 40 is exactly here where the chain space is. That's perfect because I'm going to make the increase inside the chain space. And now from here you can either count the same amount of stitches back here, or you're just gonna count the 81 like times 2. So I'm going to count backwards 40 again. Here I counted this one, so I'm not gonna count this one. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on. Here we have 40 again, exactly where the chain space is. That's perfect. So the second stitch marker here, and then you can check like this. So you can see here 1 and the other one is here. I'm gonna move this one here, and this is where we're going to do the increase. I'm gonna show you how to make the increase in a minute. So we're now going to make our first increase, and here right after this row with the chain spaces, it's gonna be like this. So we're going to make 1 double crochet into the stitch here, then we're going to make our increase, which is here into the chain space. So we're going to make 2 double crochets instead of 1 into the chain space, and then 1 double crochet into the stitch. So we now have 1 more double crochet than we originally had. So 1 increase, and now we're going to insert our stitch marker here between the 2 double crochets that are in the chain space, and this is where we're going to make our increase in the upcoming row. So we're going to continue now normally until we reach the next stitch marker, and we're going to do exactly the same increase as we did here. And then at the end of the row we will have exactly an additional of 2 double crochets, and here in this case, if you need to make a bigger increase, you're gonna make 2 increases at each side instead of just 1. So you will have 4 increases instead of 2. So once you reach your desired length, which looks like this when you haven't combined it yet. So it took me a few times to try. With the previous one I made a couple of more rows, I combined it, I made less rows, I combined it, and the reason why I chose this length is because when I make it too short, then here it will just go too much inside and it will be too tight. And if I made it longer, then if you're wearing it much higher, then yes, of course you need to make it longer. But if you found the correct height that you like to wear it, it's important that it's not too low. Too low, because otherwise it will look strange down here. So this is the length. I made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows of the colored one. And one more time, just for you to see, this is how it looks like finished. You can see it's a little bit tight on the back side still, but if I would, like, this is how I will wear it, right under the belly button. But if I would wear it higher, it's too tight on the back. And so, yeah, and you can see if I would wear it even lower, let's say I would have made it longer, then here it just doesn't look good. So I found this to be the perfect length for the height that I want to use. And yeah, I'm going to do exactly the same amount, and now I'm going to show you how to make the leg part. I now reached the desired length that I would like to have. I'm just going to show you one more time some of the increases, because I think some of the increases need to be explained a little bit better. So right here, I'm right before making an increase, and you can see this is the increase from the previous row. And I have 2 stitches before the increase. So if there wouldn't be any increase, I would just skip this 1 stitch and enter the hook here. But since we have an increase here, I'm going to enter the hook into the chain space between the 2 increases. It's not a chain space, it's just the space between the 2 double crochets from the increase. I'm going to make the half double crochet. I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to make 1 more half double crochet into that space, and then I'm going to chain 1, and then if I would have done the stitch here, if there wouldn't have been an increase here, then I would have skipped this stitch, right? So I'm going to skip this stitch here and make the increase in here, add the half double crochet. So we have an increase here. And you can see now here the increases have this shape here, which will be on the front and on the back side of the shorts. And now I'm going to show you how to combine the front and the back part to make the leg part. So here we just are right before an increase. So as other increases, I'm going to do it here at the row where I'm making the mesh stitch. So I'm going to make the half double crochet into the space between the 2 increases, and now I'm going to make 20 chains in order to combine with the back part. It depends on your size. I tried a couple of times with 10 chains. It was way too tight. And then with 20 chains, I realized that's the perfect fit. It depends also on how loose you want it to be or on how fitting you want it to be. But for me, the 10 chains, it just became like too tight on the back side. And so that's why I'm going to make 20 chains. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I now have 20 chains. And now I'm going to insert my hook. I need to make a half double crochet, so I have to yarn over before I'm going to insert the hook into the increase from the previous row, pull through and make the half double crochet. And now we are just going to continue, but we're not going to, we need to check, we have to continue on this leg only. So now once we've combined these 2, the front and the back part, we have like the leg spaces, let's say, and we're going to just continue first crocheting on one part and then on the other part. So since here we already have our yarn and everything, our changes of color, we are just going to continue as we would have done before. So chain 1, skip 1 stitch and make the half double crochet, and continue this until you reach the end of the row. and then we need to change the color. I now did the second row here of the leg part, or it's the first row, let's say. And here I'm now where we combined the front and the back part. And now, since we did 20 chains, I'm going to just make 20 double crochet on this chain. It's not a foundation chain, but like a chain line. And in order to keep things easy, I'm not going to insert the hook into each chain here. I'm just going to do the double crochet around like this, and I'm going to do 20 of them. So 1, 2, 3, until you reach 20, or depending on how many chains you did. And then you're just going to continue with double crochet along here. So as you can see here, I did the 20 double crochet, and it's not very even, but it doesn't matter, because later when we do the second leg, I'm going to show you how to even it out. So just keep it like this, and you can, probably it was like this before, so you can just straighten it out until you reach the end of these chains, and then you're going to simply make a double crochet into the first chain space here, and then continue as we usually did, as usual. Like this, always 1 double crochet into the chain space and 1 into the stitch. And you're going to do that until you reach the end of the row, and then you're going to change the color and do the row of double crochets in the white color, and then this row here, and so on, and depending on the length of the shorts that you would like to have. But I'm going to show you how many rows I did. I always count the amount of rows with the color. So you can see here we did the 7 rows until we combined the front and the back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here this is the last row, and here this is the row, the first one that I just did here. So this is the first in the color. So I did a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I started to do the border, and then I moved to the next one. So continue, there are no increases, so just continue until you reach that length or your desired length, and then I'm going to show you how to continue. So I now reached my desired length. It's exactly the same length as I did the previous shorts, and now all we have left for this one side of the pants is to make this border here. I'm going to show you. I'm here done with the last row, and here we are at the side where we are doing the changes of the yarn. So we are going to just change the yarn as we usually would. So make sure that the other yarn is always at the inside so that we cannot see that outside, and here we're going to just make a slip stitch. So now we need to make the border. So what we're going to do is to first of all chain 1, turn your work, and make a single crochet into the first stitch. Now that we've done the single crochet, we are going to skip 2 stitches, and we're going to make a double crochet into the 3rd stitch. We're going to do 2 more double crochets into the same stitch, like this. And then we're going to do this thing here, and this is done like this. So we're going to chain 2, then we're going to make a slip stitch. So we're going to insert the hook. You can see here, this is the stitch of the double crochet, of the third double crochet, but we're going to insert the hook here as if we would just insert it to the front loop only, and then we're going to also insert it on this point here like this, and then we're going to make a slip stitch like this, and then we're going to do 3 more double crochet into the same stitch. And then it looks like this. So now we're going to skip again 2 stitches, and we're going to make a single crochet into the 3rd stitch. And we're already done with our first design. And now we're going to repeat the same thing. I'm going to show you one more time. We're going to skip 2 stitches, make 3 double crochets into the 3rd stitch, then we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, take the hook, insert it on this part here. When you look at it, you can see here the stitch, the front loop, and here there's one more loop. So we're going to insert it like this, and it looks like this, and then we're going to take the yarn and make a slip stitch throughout like this, and then we're going to chain, we're going to make 3 double crochets into the same stitch again. We're going to skip 2 stitches and make 1 single crochet like this, and we're going to repeat this until we reach the end of the row, and then we're done with the first leg. I now reached the end of the row, and as you can see here, it's not a perfect ending, and what you want to do is up to you actually. You can either continue making a few single crochet, and then you have a little bit of a bigger gap here. I'm going to show you how it looks like this, and then close the row with a slip stitch, or you can make 1 more of these things here whatever you want to call them, and then you will have a smaller gap, so that will look like this. Like this, and then just make directly the slip stitch, and it looks like this. So I will choose this option here. So I did a slip stitch, and I'm going to cut off the yarn. Like this. And we're now done with 1 leg part. You can see here, this is the inner part. If I turn it around, it looks clean, and there is no yarn on the outside. Like this, and it's not like, you can still see a little bit, but it's still not that visible since it's this side anyway, like this. And we are lucky to have the front and the back side all without any leftover yarns or other things that are not nice to see. So now we are going to move to the other leg. And basically what I'm going to show you now is just how to crochet this part here. It's very simple where to choose to make the changes, the yarn changes, the color changes, because that's an important thing. Make sure to do them on the inside as well. So check where this side is, and then you're going to start crocheting. So what you're going to do first of all is to take the white yarn and insert it here at the part where we used to do the double crochets, the increases, and make a knot. Next, what we need to do is we are going to count the exact amount of number that we did here, the half double crochet with the spaces in between, just to make sure that they're exactly the same amount that we're going to make here on this side. And once you counted them, you're going to take the yarn, chain 2, which will be your first half double crochet. Here it is this part here where we used to do the increase, so it's equivalent to this one here. And here you can see this is the back side, like the wrong side of crochet, so I need to turn my work. One more time, check if this is the inner part. This is the inner part, so I will keep the yarn on the inside. I'm going to make the chain 1, skip 1 stitch, half double crochet, chain 1, skip 1 stitch, half double crochet pattern. I can see here on the equivalent part I have here 1 half double crochet. I skipped this stitch here, and I'm making a half double crochet into this stitch here, so let's keep it the same way. So this stitch is the previous one, and we're going to make a half double crochet into here. So chain 1, half double crochet, and continue like this until you reach this part here on the opposite side where you started to combine the front and the back part. So make sure to count them and to make sure that they're exactly the same amount of half double crochets as for the other leg, and then I will show you how to continue. I reached now the end of the row, and due to the fact that we did the increases on different parts, you remember I had the intersection at 40.5 and I chose to use 41 instead of 40. So then of course everything like moves up, moves a stitch further, so it might happen that you don't have exactly the same amount of stitches. Just try to like adjust it while you're crocheting. Like for example, now I have 1 stitch more because of that part, and also I had to here the last one I skipped 2 stitches to compensate for that. So now I need to change the color, and so one more time check where the inside is. That's here. So we are crocheting on the outside at the moment, on the inside at the moment. So take the yarn, I'm going to finish off the half double crochet with, let's say, with the new color. So it's gonna be like this, and then change the color. So I'm changing the color like this, it's actually not that big of a deal. So make what will be more easy for you. Make a knot here for the first time, and now we need to do the double crochets. So we're going to chain 3, and we're not doing this part here yet because we need to turn our work. So we're gonna continue crocheting this side, and then once you reach the part here, I'm going to show you how to make that part. So continue making the double crochets, one into the chain space, one into the stitch. If you want, you can also count the double crochets you made on this side. Remember, here there are 20, and then the other ones you can count them depending on the size that you made. And then I'm going to show you how to combine this part here. So now once you've reached this part here where we connected the front and the back part, we are going to continue doing double crochets. And so make sure that you counted the same amount of double crochets that you had on the sides for both legs, let's say like that. And now we need to make the double crochets here, and these we're simply going to make 20 double crochets as we did here on the opposite side, and we're always inserting the hook as we did previously, like this. We're not going to insert it right into the stitch, and we're just always skipping this one, like between each double crochet. So I did 2 now. I'm gonna check the space in between here, 3, 4, and so on until you reach the end. So very simple, and it looks actually pretty nice, and it holds also very nice. So no need to worry about opening up or something. So just make a double crochet between each double crochet on this chain here, on these chains here, chain line. And once you reached the end of the row, you're just going to continue to crochet in rows as you did here on the opposite leg, and then you're actually just going to do that until you reach the same length as the opposite leg, and then you're going to make the ending part, and then you're actually finished. You just need to weave in the leftover yarns, and that's it. So let me finish it off, show you how the finished product looks like, and also try it on, and yeah, see you very soon. And I finished making also the blue version of these shorts. You can see I styled them with a simple t-shirt. I just cropped it a little bit here, and I chose this one because this yarn color is actually not 100% white. It's a little bit cream color, so I do have some white shirts as well, but I realized it's not really white. So this shirt, which is like creamy, is a much better fit, actually perfect fit. And I matched them with my light blue, sky blue Vans, and yeah, I think it's a very comfortable look for the summer if you want to be a little bit more easygoing. It is very comfortable. The shorts are super comfortable, and yeah, this is it for this crochet tutorial. Thanks so much for watching. Of course, as always, I'm really curious in seeing your creations, so if you happen to make them, please feel free to send them to me via DM on my Instagram account. I am happy to share all of your works, guys. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. Give it a like, please subscribe, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.